Now to the fact that one of your now former members, former Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, has been nominated for U.S. Attorney General. Gaetz, as you know, had been facing a House Ethics Committee investigation over numerous allegations, including one that he had sex with a 17-year-old. We should note that Gaetz denies that allegation. On Wednesday, you said this about the House Ethics Committee's investigation.
The Speaker of the House is not involved in that, can't be involved in that, so I'm not really the person probably to answer that question.
But on Friday, you did want something to do with it. You said the House Ethics Committee report should not be released. In between those two comments, you did speak with President-elect Trump. Did he encourage you to change your position and to squash the House Ethics Committee report from being released?
No, he did not. The president and I have literally not discussed one word about the ethics report, not once. And I've been with him quite a bit this week between Washington and Mar-a-Lago. And last night in Madison Square Garden. But this is what I'll tell you about that. What I said is entirely consistent. The Speaker of the House is not involved in ethics committee work, can't be, shouldn't be, because the Speaker can't put a thumb on the scale or have anything to do with that. So I have no idea what the contents of this report would be. I didn't even know about it, Jake, until the middle of this week when it was announced in the press. What I have said with regard to the report is that it should not come out. And why? Because Matt Gaetz resigned from Congress. He is no longer a member. There's a very important protocol and tradition and rule that we maintain that the House Ethics Committee's jurisdiction does not extend to non-members of Congress. I think that would be a Pandora's box. I don't think we want the House Ethics Committee using all of its vast resources and powers to go after private citizens. And that's what Matt Gaetz is now. He is no longer a member of Congress. So I think that's a really important guardrail for the institution, and that's what I was speaking to in those sound bites.
The House Ethics Committee in the past has released reports of individuals who resigned from Congress, Congressman Bonner, Congressman Lukens. The House Ethics Committee, after the resignation of Mark Foley, even began an investigation and then released a report. So it's not unprecedented, and there are a number of Senate Republicans. I mean, this report's already done. It's not a question of continuing it. It's finished. There are a number of Senate Republicans who want to see it. They say it's important to their advice and consent role. Take a listen.
I think there should not be any limitation on the Senate Judiciary Committee's investigation, including whatever the House Ethics Committee has generated.
And we should have access to it one way or another based on the way that we do all of these nominations.
Don't the American people, and more importantly, don't the people who are going to be voting on Matt Gaetz's confirmation to be the top law enforcement officer of the United States, don't they have a right to see that report that has been paid for by taxpayer dollars?
Two important points here, Jake. Number one, my understanding is that the report is not finished. It's in a rough draft form, was not yet ready to be released. And since Matt Gaetz left the Congress, I don't think it's appropriate to do so. There have been, I understand, I think 2 exceptions to the rule over the whole history of Congress and the history of the Ethics Committee. But I wasn't the Speaker at that time. I'm the Speaker now. The Speaker does not have the authority to stop the release of a report by the Ethics Committee, but I've just simply said what I believe is an obvious point, that we don't want to go down that road. I don't think you want the House Ethics Committee investigating Jake Tapper or any other private citizen. You're not a member of the institution. There's a reason that it is limited in its scope and jurisdiction. The Senate has a role, the advise and consents role, under the Constitution, and they'll perform it. They'll have a rigorous review and vetting process in the Senate, but they don't need to rely upon a report or a draft report, a rough draft report, that was prepared by the Ethics Committee for its very limited purposes.
So beyond the question of whether or not Congressman Gaetz broke the law, and certainly there's a presumption of innocence for anyone, a lot of House Republicans, your colleagues, the people you lead, have real issues with Matt Gaetz as somebody to lead the U.S. Justice Department. I'm sure you've heard them, because I've heard them. I want you to take a listen to now Senator, former House member, Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma, talking to our Manu Raju months ago about Matt Gaetz.
He was accused of sleeping with an underage girl. And there's a reason why no one and the conference came and defended him, because we had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night.
So just to take a step back, because you and I have known each other for a long time. You're a man of faith, you're a man of God, you're a man of family. With some of these nominees, Gaetz, Hegseth, RFK Jr., I wonder, does it matter anymore for Republicans to think of leaders as people who are moral in their personal lives? Is that still important to the Republican Party?
Sure. It's an important issue for anyone in leadership. This is what I'll say about the nominees that the president has put forward, is that they are persons who will shake up the status quo. And I think what the American people have believe and what they've delivered with the mandate in this election is a demand that we shake up the status quo. It's not working for the American people. So use the term in the opening about how these are disruptors. They are. I think that's by design. Any president has the right to name their own cabinet, to nominate persons that they think will fulfill their agenda. And the people that are on this list will do that. They will go into the agencies that they're being asked to lead, and they will reform them. These agencies need reform. And I think the vast majority of the American people understand that. You can't have status quo appointments in a moment like this. I'm really excited about the days ahead. I think the America First policies will deliver for the American people. I think we're going to have a warm embrace of all the new folks who came into the Republican Party in this election cycle, the demographic shifts that we saw that were historic, because we have a chance now to demonstrate for them that our policies, our conservative constitutional policies, common sense policies, are best for them as individuals and families and communities and states and the nation as a whole. So exciting days ahead. It is a new day in America. These individuals will help deliver that, and I think the Senate needs to do its job and get them appointed so that the President Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance can begin that administration and run with it on day one.
All right, Speaker Johnson, good to see you, sir. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks a lot, Jake. Good to see you.
Trump called him an enemy from